Was Plummer's Great Bear Lake Lodge on this location originally?
No, in 1959, Dad started the first lodge on the south side of Great Bear Lake. That's 75 miles south of where it is now. That's 150 miles by water out around the peninsula.
What year did you move the lodge, and why did you do it?
In 1967, Bear Lake was getting to be well known since Dad had built the first lodge up here. And then there was another lodge started on the east of us, about 15 miles away, and then there was another one about 30 miles to the west of us. And then there was a mine being started on the south of us on the Kamsel River, and Dad said we just felt like we were getting hemmed in, so we were always flying over to the northeast corner of Bear Lake, Dease Arm. That's where we are now. So he decided to move the whole camp. So I was young and energetic in those days, and so I offered to do it. So that winter I came up here with a couple other young fellas and landed on the old camp there at minus 40 below, and then that was the start of the move. We were up here all winter long, and we rented some trucks out of Yellowknife that were coming up on a winter road to the mine, Port Radium. So we rented some trucks, and then we had our own, some cats and other old sleighs and stuff like that. And then we jacked up the buildings and put them on these low boys and high boys, and we'd start off across the lake. We built our own winter roads, ice roads. We'd have either a D6 cat in front of us going along, or we would push it with a 10-wheel drive big semi-trailer with a snowplow on it, and then it would be pulling a high boy with maybe 100 drums on it, or a building, whatever we wanted to have on that load. And we'd get going. We'd think, oh my goodness, we're gonna be there maybe in a day. There was never a trip made in less than 5 or 6 days. We would always end up falling through the ice, getting stuck, or a storm would come in and couldn't see where we were going. Of course, there's no GPS in those days. It was all just by guess and go for it. And we'd have an airplane in the sky talking back to us once in a while to tell us where to go, because they could see where the pressure ridges were. And we pulled a sleigh with us that would have a bridge on it, so if we fell through, we'd use that to pull ourselves out. Anyway, it was a long winter.
What kind of temperatures was it?
Well, we had quite a few days of the minus 40 was nothing. It was awful hard to work when it's like that. That's Fahrenheit. But a lot of days would be minus 20. That's not a bad day. And then, of course, once you started getting into April, you're getting into daylight, and that made a big difference. So you'd have normal days just below freezing.
What size of buildings did you move? Like, what was the largest that you moved?
We moved all the buildings at the old camp except over to this location. You can see the main lodge in front of us here. We didn't move that building, but we moved everything else. And there's a shop and a store building, we call it, and they're actually about 35 by 35 feet, and they're 2-story buildings. Believe it or not, we moved them.
Was there a time when, like, what amount of time did it take to get everything moved? Like and what dates? Like March?
Well, we started in early March, and we had the move done when the ice finally came off the ice here, and we had everything over here by, I guess it was early June. Early June, everything was over here.
Was there a point, like when you're in the middle of this, wondering why you'd volunteered to do this?
Oh yeah, many times. It was an awful lot of work. We built a ice runway here and at the other camp, and Dad brought in some big airplanes. In those days, it was like DC-4s, and Max Ward had a Bristol freighter up here, and so we hauled a lot of smaller stuff in the airplanes, and new lumber for the main lodge and all that came in by airplane.
Well, incredible feat. Kudos to you.